YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Corey as Watcher Realms. We have some interesting attacks to go over for this round. There was a couple of losses and then some good wins, but let's just go ahead and get straight to it. So the first one is going to be against this Arbiter team. Honestly speaking, it's not the most cracked out Arbiter team, especially whenever you're using Valkyria. I think the main thing that them using Mari here just kind of made it troll. So I went ahead and tried to go and test out these new chaotic units, right? So I'm really just looking to see how the burn does. And truth be told, these units are genuinely really strong. So they go ahead and basically one-tap Mari, they buff themselves again, and then they do it again. So she doesn't even have the chance to go ahead and really do anything, at least in this particular comp. And from there on, they kind of just go ahead and solo the rest of the field because they're putting Regulus super low, and then we're able to just go ahead and build out the swarm. So honestly, there really isn't too much to go ahead and test with this. I just wanted to see how well do these new units do, and I'm not going to lie. They are strong. They basically are like Garnet Guards 2.0 with burning. So super viable, super good. Genuinely, this team just wasn't anything crazy. Once you go ahead and take out the Mari, it's pretty easy to just go ahead and build out a swarm and take it over, right? So nothing too crazy. This was just a basic win. A lot of positioning mishaps, I will call it, with this team, especially because Mari isn't the best bet. Ingrid is, if you're going to go ahead and run that team. But maybe they didn't have Ingrid. Super quick, Smile One is currently offering additional top-up rewards if you do go ahead and choose to get WGO through their website. If you choose to go ahead and do so, you are getting amazing things like rare crystals, you're getting some diamonds, you're getting stamina pods, and at the higher end of rewards, you're even getting ancient crystals and divine crystals. So if you're super interested in trying to go ahead and get Malric, a copy of Arrogance, or even kind of stacking up some ancients so you can go ahead and go for Soul Kittens, or maybe even later down the line, you want to stack up as many ancients as you can for upcoming banners, now is a really good time, especially if you're trying to go ahead and get some summons in. Go ahead, and if you're interested, click the link in the description. That's awesome. Thank you. See ya. Nothing too crazy. All right, but after that, this is kind of where we go ahead and start testing some of these really difficult teams. I believe these are both A3 Ingrids. So here is going to be one of the teams. It is with Lily, Brokir. Pretty simple, but here's what happens, right? So the main thing is I want to just continue to test these new chaotic units. So we drop the Pharaoh Guard, and his job is basically to go ahead and proc all the ults here. If he survives, fantastic. The next step is we're looking to see how well does the chaotic unit do with buffing up the actual skeletons and the healer and the necro here, because the hope is that they're able to go and take out Praetus and then begin working on taking out Brokir, and then we're pretty good to go. So truth be told, that doesn't really happen like that because Ingrid's already going ahead and sniping out some of these units, and the chaotic unit is not really doing anything up till this point, and all these units are kind of getting free hit by Praetus and Ingrid. And if we go ahead and kind of zoom in here, the chaotic unit gets stunned and does pretty much nothing. So he just instantly dies, so we get no value from that. And at this point, our only hope is kind of just stacking up and kind of trying to run through the Brokir between the Praetus hits, the Ingrid hits, and the Eye hits. And as it stands, we don't really get the most amount of luck here. Ingrid's already fully charged up. A3, it's a loss. Simple as that, right? The chaotic unit just didn't do what we were hoping for it to do with taking out Praetus, and because of that, it's just not much you can do. After that, we go ahead and chow another team. Now, this is the Praetus Ingrid Ymir team, which is pretty much as goated as you can get when it comes to going ahead and building some of these towers. It's because what's going to happen is the Ymir is going to go ahead, ult, freeze everybody. Praetus is going to go ahead and deal a substantial amount of damage, chunk everyone out. And then Ingrid over here is also going to go ahead and kind of snipe out the units. I believe this Ingrid is also A3, so it's a little bit of a chow. Now what happens is you can easily go ahead and beat these teams by using a bombing strategy. It was just not in the cards, right? I tried to go ahead and use the Necro Swarm and just run through, which we get a little bit of success. I think we get 2 dogs through. Just by swarming it. But what we're doing really is we're trying to juggle the Ingrid And once we get to this point, it's really just all about how well does the healer do and how well do the necros tank. So at this point, we're kind of starting to kind of filter through here. We have a skeleton here, which is nice. And the next step is to drop a dogs. The purpose of the dogs is because we want to go ahead and push Ymrit down and at least proc his egg. And ideally, we're able to just fully kill him out, right? Even through the lily. So we have one dog go through, then Ymrit ults. What happens is, because all of these units are now frozen, it's a little bit more difficult to go ahead and win because we need the dogs here to kind of push through, and they get bounced, and then they get stuck. And that's the negative, right? Ingrid's already fully charged up now, so every other hit, she's going ahead and inflicting those AoEs, and we're able to at least have the Feral Guard sneak by the Ymrit and give us that extra point. But overall, Ingrid kind of stacked up really quick, and so it was going to be a loss from that point on. At least after that, though, we were going to go ahead and kind of get 2 additional wins, which was through the Cyrus Esoteric team. Now, this is a little bit of an interesting team because it is pretty meta. Constance is not really the best bet. Also, placements wise, it's a little bit interesting because, Cyrus is placed here. Usually you want your Cyrus placed backwards, like over here, backwards, and then you can have your Ymrit here, and then you can have like your Enora here, just deal damage. But overall, the placements are the thing as to why this team isn't really the best. So what we do is we kind of just go ahead and stack it up. We drop the Fool and the Feral Guard. The healer is coming here just to go ahead and give some sustain. And then at that point, we're able to start building up the double necros. And I think I actually dropped a second Feral Guard. So the reason why I dropped the second Feral Guard is because if I'm able to just fully stack up, and it's really just because Cyrus is faced forward, so I'm not getting any substantial damage from the Ymrit that's going to make me super concerned. So we're able to just stack it up here, and then we're able to build up the Swarm, which we should start right there. So once these double necros are here, we have this Feral Guard that's also here. We are not going to die. Like, both these Feral Guards are pretty much good for the rest of the map, especially when paired with the Fool, who's just going to go ahead and give them those shields. And then we have the healer over here, which is going to go ahead and give them those heals. So they're always going to be topped up. At this point, the second the necros spawn up around here, we have the clearance to go ahead and connect and then drop these double dogs and just run through the rest of the map. The main timing that we're focused on is this Ymrit and this Enora, because if we drop them during the Enora or the Ymrit ult, we insta lose. But because we waited, we have the full clearance here to run through without going into any of the ults. And worst case scenario, these units get rooted up by Enora, but because we have the good timing, we're able to just run through here right before Enora ults and then right before Ymrit ults. Easy win. Now, if we were a little bit slow in Enora ults or Ymrit ults, super good chance that we just lose the match. But the timing was a little bit in our favor there. And then we have the final one here, which is, I actually don't even know what a child for the last one. What is it? Okay. This is interesting because I was actually thinking about running a team like this. So running Lubu is potentially good as like a side instead of being Ardia, but overall this placement's a little bit troll. So what we do is we go ahead and do the Feral Guard because I'm more concerned about Praetus than I am with any of these other physical damage units being Lubu or Hatsid, especially because Hatsid's in her exclusive, so that gives her mainly just burst damage whenever she's in her stealth mode and not necessarily auto attack damage. So she's probably also in Soulbound Arcana than Infernal Roar, which gives me additional clearance because now I know my Fool is not going to just go ahead and get insta melted. So we go ahead, drop double Chaotix, because at this point, once we've gone ahead and forced the Hatsid ult, I know that these units have a really good shot and just insta killing her whenever they hit her, or putting her into a very low position of health to where we're pretty much able to go and take out the Brokir. So what we do is they're dropped. They're going to go ahead and do their ultimate and kind of buff up these skeletons next. And there we go. Everyone's buffed up. And now they should go ahead and target the Brokir, force him down. And they might even go and swap targets over to the Hatsid if we're lucky. but it doesn't look like that. It looks like they're just going ahead and soloing the Broke here at this point. And there we go. Lubu's dead because all these units got buffed. Simple win, right? One of the things that's super weird about the chaotic units is sometimes their targeting, it just like doesn't make sense. Sometimes they'll go ahead and hit that Hotsatao, sometimes they won't. But the best benefit is they're at least buffing up the skeletons and things like that. So anyways, super quick run. This guild is okay, but at this point we should be back in Overlord and having some harder matches.